Hi, welcome back. We are on episode 41. Thank you for tuning in with us. And I think you have some pretty interesting developments here happening with Lazarus.
Absolutely, yeah.
And
Lazarus, yeah.
well,
Eliazar.
Eliazar, Lazarus.
Yes. So today we're going to talk about the so-called resurrection of Lazarus,
Okay.
and we're going to give the little interpretation of the memories of nature,
Okay.
which is the initiation of Eliazar.
Ah,
Okay.
that's why he came back from the dead.
That's why he came back from the dead, because he was initiated.
Okay. He had a mini death.
Right. So in the previous episode, we covered a lot of material, but in the last part of the episode, number 40, we saw the preparation of Eliazar made by Yeshua when both of them went into the desert
Right.
for about 40 days, right?
Right.
And I think the audience should keep in mind too that they did that 2 or 3 days after the wedding.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so
Yeah, okay.
there is
Let's get to work.
there is a person who is a little bit frustrated about that.
Oh, gee, I wonder who that is.
So we're going to see that. So it takes Yeshua and Eliazar about 3 days of intense walking to reach Bethany. They have decided that the initiation will take place in Bethany, where Martha and Eliazar have a house and a little property.
Oh, okay.
And Bethany is located very close to Jerusalem. It's less than a day of walk from Jerusalem. Okay.
A day of walking.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it takes them about 3 days, to basically from the desert where they do the preparation all the way down to Bethany. And Yeshua knew that they would not be alone in the house of Martha. Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately.
Yeah.
In fact, knowing what was going to happen, some disciples went forward.
Oh, they went ahead
Yes,
of them?
to Bethany, and they were waiting for Yeshua and Eliazar, And Miriam, the wife of Yeshua, was there.
Oh, she went ahead too?
She went ahead too. And that was
Were
actually
they like riding the donkeys faster past them? What did they do?
That was a very great joy for Yeshua.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, he was very happy to see her. Because, I mean, again, they had been married and he was gone for almost 7 weeks.
Yeah.
Right after the wedding.
Yeah.
So Yeshua had clearly indicated that there would be no ceremonial rituals, for that initiation, but just 3 days of prayers. So you had to be ready for that, yeah. And when Yeshua arrived, there was a little commotion and some disputes regarding who would wash his feet.
Yeshua's feet? Or...
Yeshua's feet.
Okay.
Yeah, after such a long...
okay. I thought it was Eliazar.
No, it wasn't. So, and everybody was bickering and fighting. And finally, he decided it would be Miriam, his wife.
Okay.
Would. And she did that with a very detached and an attitude, and probably because
you left me.
You left me for 7 weeks and now I have to wash your feet. Yeah. And seeing that, Yeshua whispers in her ears, and he says, in the world, there are 2 types of people, my beloved. Those who have everything to be happy, but never are. And those who are always seeking happiness, but never find it.
Oh, jeez.
So do not be like any of them, because all is here for you. So at that point, Miriam raised her head, she looked at Yeshua, she pouted her lips, and she dropped her head on his knees.
Because he always has to have something to say that just kind of calms everything, right?
Exactly. So it was a small comment that touched her very deep, Yeah. And another door had been opened in her heart. Yeah. So the dinner on that evening, right before the initiation, is very simple, just a few dates from Martha's garden. Yeah. So Martha's actually has a nice little property, Martha and Eliazar, and they have fig trees and date trees.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, that's
I could hang out there for a little while.
Right. And
Okay.
Yeshua is adamant about creating among the group, a space of peace by orienting and focusing their consciousness in a certain direction. He expects all these little group of disciples who came, uninvited, basically, to do and to work and to
Right.
pray in a certain
Right.
direction. Yeah. And Eliazar was going to cross some serious challenges, and he needed their support in the invisible world. Yeah. That's why. And Yeshua is watching the face of some of his disciples, and he sees jealousy, he sees fear, he sees, different feelings on
Why
some
him
of them.
and not me, right?
Yeah, and Levi was there, Judah, Jacob, Andrew were there, and they were all hoping that such moment would come for them. But maybe they're not ready. This
You
is
got to
not.
be ready for this.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because it's a very dangerous
This is not
procedure. Yeah. So Yeshua starts a prayer in Aramaic, and I'm going to try to read it in Aramaic. So it goes, Awun doher shmeia neth radash smash, which means, in plain good English, our Father who is in heaven, hallowed be thy name. So at dawn, and before the birds even started chirping, Yeshua leads Eliazar toward the sanctuary of his transformation. And Eliazar says, Master, I am so afraid. And, it is normal to be afraid.
Of course.
And Yeshua does not respond, Again, this is a very difficult initiation. I mean, this is called the small death or the little death.
Yeah.
Many disciples who have tried that before have died during the process. So this is not something that can be done by everybody.
Right.
Yeah. And then they enter a cavity in the ground with a very large wheel, a mill wheel that is used as a door, So. And Eliazar is panting, he's trying to catch his breath. He's really panicking in the small and dark space of that.
He's like hyperventilating
tomb,
in there.
Yeah. And the place is actually an old tomb, Yeah. And it used to be a very, very old tomb from long time ago. And Yeshua tells Eliazar, let's sit here. I need to talk to you before you lay down in this hole. So inside the tomb, there is a little cavity in the ground, which is probably 6 or 7 feet long,
right,
and 1 feet deep.
Okay.
And this is where the body is going to be.
That's where he's going to lay.
He's going to lay down.
Well, at least he's not in a sarcophagus and it gets covered up.
No, no.
Like what happened to Yeshua.
Yes,
right.
But Yeshua was in a it was completely different.
Yeah.
It was another level. Yeah.
Right.
And Eliazar goes again. I'm so afraid, Master. Yes, talk to me. Fear. Yes, it was going to rise to the ultimate, at one time or another. And not the fear of darkness so much, but the fear of not being able to breathe.
Right.
And while suffocating, the feeling of panic, when myriads of inner demons are rushing to your consciousness.
Oh, yes, and you're going to die, you're going to die.
Because this is all your inner demons,
Yes.
And Eliazar, at one point, is so afraid that he's telling Yeshua that he's ready to renounce the divine. He's ready to abort the whole process and become a traitor to the divine. So Yeshua turns to Eliazar and he goes, to become a coward and a traitor? You must be kidding, right? Do you believe that you are the first one to go through such challenges?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, not one of those who preceded you were spared by your current torments. Not a single one.
Yeah. It's a normal reaction.
Eliazar, my friend, whatever happens, and even in the middle of the terror, you renounce the divine. He will not turn his back on you and will wait for you later in another lifetime.
Yeah, you don't want to do it now.
You cannot escape it because nobody escapes the ultimate freedom of his destiny. So hearing those words, Eliazar is a little bit comforted, and he undressed completely. And then he's going to lay down in the cavity directly on the ground. So his naked body is directly on in the dirt. And at that point, Yeshua is going to fold a very large piece of white linen, and he placed it on Eliazar's body.
Okay.
And even he's going to cover his face also later on. So Yeshua blows the candle, so they are all both in the darkness now of the tomb, you know. And Yeshua tells Eliazar again, you're going to meet yourself, my brother, and nothing else. You're going to converge your eyes of flesh toward the third eye, you know, so you're going to be basically looking on the third eyes, and maintain the pressure as I taught you. In the blue light that will come, let your vessel, your physical vessel, float by itself. Okay. From where I stay, I will follow your path. I will not intervene, but my love will be with you. And at that point, Yeshua reminds Eliazar about the breathing technique, so he can stop actually breathing as quickly as possible.
Oh, okay.
Because the place where he's going to stay will be hermetically closed. So there will be no light, no sound, no air. It's like a tomb.
Yeah.
So you have, during this process, to stop breathing as quickly as possible. So all these techniques, the preparation techniques and the breathing techniques, are not indicated in the book.
I was going to ask you that next.
Because the author doesn't want anybody to try
even
that.
try it.
Yeah, to even try
some
it. Yeah.
people would probably
Oh,
try
yeah,
it.
because most likely you will end up dead. Yeah. So Yeshua is going to then place 3 flat stones on the cavity, so closing it completely, right? And he moves out of the grotto. And outside, he's going to roll back the large millstone to shut the entrance of the tomb, right? And then he's going to take some hay and dirt, and he's going to make sure that everything is sealed perfectly.
Wow, okay.
So at that point, no air, no noise, or no light can penetrate inside the tomb.
I'm thinking about how that would feel.
Yeah, picture yourself, right?
Yeah.
You are directly on the ground.
Yeah.
There is just a piece
Probably
of linen.
cold. Yeah.
Yeah, a piece of linen. Well, the coldness may help actually.
Yeah.
Because it probably helps you to numb your body.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah.
And anyway, so Yeshua decides to walk in the property of Martha, you know, and a few of the disciples are starting to awake. It's still very early in the morning. And Martha comes out to get some water from the well, and Yeshua feels that she's a little bit distressed, you know, so he gives her a long hug to comfort her about her brother Eliazar.
Well,
because
yeah,
I mean, you know, she's probably worried about her brother.
Yeah, of
course. She knows what's going on, and it's not an easy proposition. And then Yeshua is going to join Miriam, who is still half asleep. And, you know, half asleep, she says, "Is everything all right, Rabboni?" And then she goes, "I was thinking about Eliazar and what he's going to leave. I really have no idea what it will be. Also, I was wondering how to free ourselves from that tangled web that we call life." Yeah, I guess we could say that nowadays,
we
right?
like that too.
And Yeshua goes, you know, "Oh, Miriam, you never leave life. You only change within it. The only real problem that we have to solve is how to get out of the dream what we think is life." Because again, for Yeshua, life is a dream. And we have to understand that dream and get out of it. And this is what Eliazar is trying to solve a little bit more today by doing this initiation. And Miriam asked, "Will he come out of it awake?" And Yeshua says, "He will be back, more awake than he is now, and we will welcome him. But for the time being, let's unite with him in our prayers." And so all the disciples are going to gather around Yeshua and Miriam at this point, you know, and they share some flatbread dipped in olive oil, perfumed with cinnamon. Yeah. So apparently that cinnamon was imported, and I think it was imported by Yusuf of Arimathea.
But I've never thought of putting cinnamon and olive oil together.
Yes. It was imported from the Far East, you know, Southeast. And they seemed to, it was something that they enjoyed. Yeah. So they're all joyous. But suddenly they realized that they had committed to 3 days of prayer.
Oops.
Oops. Yep. So they were all students of the School of Love, which
Mhm.
means the School of Will.
Mm. Mhm.
So all the disciples are reacting differently to these 3 days, stopping occasionally to eat dates, figs, and curdled milk. So that's what they will be eating for that. And Miriam on her side is crying a lot, not of sorrow, but because she has started her metamorphosis for which she was destined. There is a process going on inside her after the wedding and, after being away from Yeshua for 7 or 8 weeks, and then attending that initiation, there is something happening on her.
Right.
And she even covered her hair with ashes, which actually surprises Yeshua, as he knows she is very proud of her wild and untamed beauty. So he's very surprised to see her do that. And Yeshua goes by himself and he's going to try to follow the consciousness of Eliazar, as he had promised to him and to honor his responsibility. He is the guru or the master of ceremony, for this initiation. So he wants to make sure that everything goes well. And during his, while he's follow the consciousness of Eliazar, he hears Eliazar scream, Sometimes he hears him sing. Sometimes he talks in an unknown language, probably revisiting previous lifetimes. Who knows, And after a full day, Yeshua's soul only catches complete silence from Eliazar. There is a bubble of perfect silence. There is nothing else coming back from Eliazar.
He was probably wondering, is he still alive?
He knows, yeah. And according to Yeshua, Eliazar had finally vanquished the guardians of his inner thresholds. Okay. He has reviewed his past glories, reviewed past achievements, past failures, falls, loves, and most importantly, his vanity. Not to accuse himself, but to recognize and accept his profound nature. And at one point, Yeshua leaves his body and follows Eliazar in his ascension, observing the unfolding of his eagle wings. So he's very proud and very happy to see that, Eliazar was finding himself finally. He was turning into an angel and unfolding his wings.
It's a nice picture.
Yes. And finally, the fourth day arrives. This whole process has lasted, 72 hours. Right? Yeah, 72 hours. And the fourth day arrives, and Uncle Yusuf came to attend the awakening of his nephew, because Eliazar is his nephew. So it was I don't know, nobody knows how he heard about it, but anyway, he was there.
He was there.
And Yeshua is removing all the dirt and hay which were sealing the door, and he rolls out the large mill wheel, to reveal the entrance of the tomb at that point, And Yeshua enters the tomb, followed by Uncle Yusuf. And Uncle Yusuf is holding an oil lamp, behind him. And there is not a single noise, not a wisp of air to accompany them. It's really like a tomb.
Yeah.
And Yeshua placed the lamp in front of him and walks to the cavity on the ground, And he's going to remove the 3 flat stones, which had not moved, They were untouched. And he finds the body of Eliazar fully covered by the linen fabric. So after a few prayers, Yeshua placed his hand on Eliazar's chest, make sure. And he can feel a very small movement, like a breathing, but extremely slow, And that's probably what allows Eliazar to survive, 3 days in this small cavity. And Yeshua then is going to start a sound that he creates in his chest and in his belly simultaneously. And the sound is called the buzzing of the sun. And it is described in one of the books that Daniel Moran wrote. It's about the Egyptian therapy. And I think, so if people want to know more about it, they can refer to that book, yeah. And he feels that the soul of who used to be Eliazar is ready to come back.
He's done cooking, huh?
And I think
my
the
gosh.
important is who used to be Eliazar. Okay? And then Yeshua says, Yo-Hanan, Yo-Hanan, rise now, I'm asking it. And without waiting, Yeshua is going to pull the piece of linen from the face of what used to be Eliazar, and he watches the eyelids of Eliazar flutter very quickly, you know, and he's then going to blow on them until they stop their motions. And he says again, Yo-Hanan, come and follow me. And I think it's important for people to realize that after an initiation, you are invited to change your name. Okay. So Yo-Hanan, to explain the whole process, turn into Johann in our, Western world, turns into Jean and John in the English Bible. And that was the name Eliazar had chosen in the secret of his heart in memory of Yo-Hanan the Baptist, John the Baptist, who had taught him on the shores of the Yerad River. Yeah. So we have to, and I guess we explained that in the previous episode. I mean, Eliazar had a very strong admiration for Yo-Hanan, John the Baptist, because it was his first teacher. It was the man who baptized him in the Yerad River. Right. So he had a profound reverence and appreciation of that man. So he decided to take his name, okay? And at that point, Yeshua is going to start rubbing vigorously the body of Eliazar to activate the circulation of blood, okay? And thus was born the famous Apostle John, right? Back to the world of livings after visiting the depths of his memories. Yeah. So, but for the continuation of these episodes, we will keep the name of Yo-Hanan, and we will also specify Eliazar next to it, so people know who we are talking about. It could
get confusing.
Yeah,
all different names, same person.
We know the Yo-Hanan the Baptist has been beheaded, so he's no longer around, right? So at this point, helped by Uncle Yusuf, Yeshua is going to slide a new robe on the naked body of Yo-Hanan and help him out to the outside of the tomb. And for hours, Eliazar, Yo-Hanan, is going to stay silent, He's still living between the ecstasies and the shocks, of his experience. Yeah. And he seems more attracted by the sunshine and the sky and the passing of clouds in the sky rather than by other humans. And I think that can be understood.
Very much.
So what happened in Bethany on those 4 days was very hush hush. Okay, very few people, very few men and women attended it. Probably less than a dozen. Okay, and wise then was the initiation of Eliazar turned into the resurrection of Lazarus, which makes no sense. Yeah, no sense. Okay.
Well, there was probably rumors that he was in a tomb and he died. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like there was probably
people who do not understand what's going on.
Right. They didn't know what was happening.
So the author is thinking that perhaps because some people who had some powers and could control the narrative of the Bible
and that too.
Decided to do so, right?
That could be it too.
Because it is easier to tell about the resurrection of the flesh rather than the metamorphosis of the soul and its ascension. Yeah. I mean,
because that's the whole purpose of us being here.
Right. I mean, it's easier to say to the people, okay, thanks to Jesus, now, you can be reborn or revived or whatever. Instead of explaining the ascension and the process that we have to go through.
You have to do on a personal level.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Can't expect somebody to do it for you.
Nobody.
Be nice,
and
but
I mean, we all have, at one point or another, we will have to go through that.
Right.
In our future lifetimes. Yeah.
I think every lifetime we do it.
Yeah. Well, maybe it is because most writers of the Bible had not understood that the mission of the Messiah was not to save humankind, but to show how to save itself.
Right.
Okay? That is to say, to find the memory of its essence And again, it's very important. The Messiah is not here to save us or to do the work for us.
Right.
It is only to show us how to do it.
Show us the way.
Show us the way. And I would say, finally, maybe because there is an obsession within the people in power and the people in the church to maintain their envelope of flesh and delay the inevitable death. Because they are, frankly speaking, they're afraid of dying.
Yeah.
Because they know that what they have been doing is so atrocious
Right.
that they don't want to even think about that.
Right.
And I would say most of the elite today have only one obsession: is to stay alive as much as possible.
Right. Well, most people.
Yeah,
because most people are afraid of death, right?
Because they have so much money, they want to make sure that they can enjoy it as long as possible. Money and power.
Can't blame them, but yeah.
But anyway, so this is resurrection of Lazarus versus the initiation of Eliazar, as told by the memoir of natures.
That kind of makes more sense to me.
Of course it does. Of course.
Because Yeshua was very in-depth person, right? He had a lot of depth to him. He had a lot of understanding of what the soul needs to do, right?
And we will see in the future episodes, there are some cases where Yeshua will actually bring back to life people who were dead very recently.
Okay.
Basically.
Not dead for 4 days.
No.
Yeah.
You have to be dead before the silver cord is cut.
Well, you can kind of understand why people wrote that in the Bible too, because if anybody knew he was in there for 4 days covered up and all of a sudden he came out alive, they would have to assume that Yeshua brought him back to life.
Right.
So that might be why that story was put in there. But
and I think the biggest reason is they didn't want to delve into the initiation process and explain to people that you have to go through different stages.
No, they had their narrative for all that, what they wanted out there. Well, thank you so much for tuning in again, and we'll see you next time.